How you doing, crypto maniacs? This is Steve with Altcoin Buzz. So today I want to talk about privacy coins, privacy tokens, what they are in a nutshell, and why I think you need them, which means they could potentially make a really good investment. So let's take a good old quick look, and it seems like the market is mostly up today, which is great. It has been a good holiday. People were crazy about the downturn right before the weekend leading into the holiday, and today we're getting back to that early last week market cap. I think when I last checked it was 575 billion there in the ballparks. So hopefully you guys are starting to recover from your funk and come back to a little bit more of your normal routine here. Get back to work, whatever the case may be, unless you're riding it out through New Year's. But we are here pounding away videos, ready to keep you guys informed on what's going on. So one of the reasons I think that you guys should be looking into privacy coins is not just the speculation that these may go up massively in value in the near future. That's certainly a opinion, definitely not financial advice. This is just me talking to you guys, and it's based upon my personal beliefs as well as other people that I have talked to and their excitement around that. So let's take a quick look at what happens when you don't have a privacy token. And this is going to be true for very many of the tokens out there, but even more so if you are spending money with so many of these ERC20 tokens that are out there. So since Ethereum is one of the main blockchains, smart contracts, that these other cryptocurrencies seem to be based off of, you guys should be aware that many of these non-privacy cryptocurrencies just kind of leave your wallet address flapping in the breeze. So more so than most of your email addresses. A lot of people have said, put your public address out there. It's no different than people being able to see your email address. They can't take a look at your emails. They can just send you money, blah, blah, blah. All right, so kind of put that rumor to bed here. And if you guys have ever heard of Etherscan, etherscan.io, probably have heard of it, especially if you've been dealing with tokens and you've been trying to track down what the heck's going on with that money I just transferred over to the exchange and why is it taking so dang long to get there. So I did a Google search, really simple, Ethereum wallet address, and up pops an Ethereum account on Etherscan. Let's go ahead and click on it. Now this is not me singling out this particular address. It's not my address. It's just the first one that came up on Google. So whoever's this is, and it says overview Poloniex wallet, so maybe it's PolonieX's actual Etherscan or Ethereum wallet. It's a hell of a lot of money, so $73 million plus currently sitting in there on current Ether value. They've performed 21 million plus transactions, so very likely that this is actually an exchange's wallet. But you could take a look here. You can look at their tokens, see what all different types of tokens they got on there. All right. You can come down and find out their transactions. A lot of money moving out, paying out. 2.4. Who's it going to? Here's this address. Great. Let's take a look at their address. Imagine this. So let's take this address, completely anonymous. Or I should say completely randomly chosen. And then we end up on this dude's wallet. So they've done 23 transactions. They currently hold about 1 ETH at $755 wallet balance, 1.02. And here's where they've taken their money. So they have paid money out to this address, taken money in from Poloniex, and so on and so forth. You can keep diving in. I can click on this one and I can be like, hey, who's that guy? Okay, he's got a lot of money, or it's got a lot of money. And that's where not being private shows that you've got ins and outs. So it wouldn't just be like giving somebody your email address. It would be like giving somebody your email address and then being able to see some context of what's in your address, what's in your inbox and your outbox. So you can see who you've been emailing, when you've been emailing them to, how much money you've been sending. And that's part of the peer-to-peer part of this. I have perusal of it. So if I believe that somebody says they're going to pay me some money and I go, before that, shoot me your wallet address, I want to take a look and make sure you've actually got it in there before I take your word for it. And then if you said you sent it, well, okay, I'm going to call BS if I go into your wallet and I don't see some pending transaction from outbound headed to my address. So that's kind of cool. But you got to keep in mind that let's say you're just going about your day-to-day business and you buy something off of somebody on Craigslist now that they're taking cryptocurrencies, and it just so happens that that person took your money and decided to do something unlawful with it. And next thing you know, you're being asked all kinds of questions by some type of law enforcement. This is like a worst case scenario. I'm just hypothetically saying it. But let's say they come in and then they say, hey, we noticed you gave him $500. This guy is a known bad guy. He's been dealing in these illicit activities and you've been paying him money. I see you paid him here. We have reason to believe that you're involved with this. So that's one way. Two, maybe you just, now that you've seen this, maybe this is eye-opening to some of you, and you don't want to be stuck looking at it. Let's get off of that because that's somebody's address, even though it's publicly available. But maybe that was an eye-opener for you guys. Maybe you didn't realize that all these ERC20 tokens and Ethereum wallets were so easily browsable or perusable. Not to say that they are completely vulnerable to hacking, but because I'm not even saying privacy coins are less susceptible to being hacked or what have you. They may or may not. It depends on the actual currency. But at least so many of them take the wallets and obscure the transactions from public view. They still get processed on the blockchain or whatever type of ledger system that they're actually operating on. And I want to go over what some of my top picks are for privacy coins and just kind of go over them with you. Now, there's not really going to be any on this list that should really be a massive surprise to you guys. But first and foremost, let's kind of talk about the grand poobah of privacy coins here. And this is Dash. So Dash has a low circulating supply. What the heck? Let's do this. Well, what good are you? Let's go back to CoinMarketCap. All right. Because that seems to work. I was trying to use World Coin Index because I did have some good luck with it, and I like some of its information that it comes with. All right, so we're looking at Dash, not Dash Coin. And Dash comes in at $1,200. Really low circulating supply at under 8 million coins. And it's been around a while. But the blockchain time on this is like 2-3 minutes usually, which isn't too bad, but it's, feels like an eternity in cryptocurrency world. 2 to 3 minutes, but certainly getting more and more popular. The price has spiked. If you were to buy this a few months ago, you could have bought it at one-fourth roughly of its current day price, like many other coins from a couple months ago. So Dash is one that you guys would want to look at. And you can check out their website. Let's see where you can pick it up, because that's another good thing you always want to know. Get it on Bittrex, Bitfinex, HitBTC, BitThumb, YoBit, Binance, Poloniex, so on and so forth. There are more on here, and there's a lot of volume taking place. So it's commonly being used today. Another one that I have heard a lot of speculation on is Zcash. I've never actually purchased Zcash, but I've considered it. And it has a really low circulating supply. So of the cryptocurrencies we're going to be talking about today, at just under 3 million, this has the lowest circulating supply. But it does have a strong market cap, and it's worth roughly a little less than half the price per Dash. Now, this does have probably among the slowest block times out there for the privacy coins that we'll talk about today. Could be like 4 or 5 minutes. So it's not necessarily meant for it for like everyday use. And I'd say that of the biggest three that we're going to talk about today, most of those aren't meant for like day-to-day microtransactions. They're meant for transferring amounts of money from one person to the next. So not necessarily like running into the gas station to pick up a 6-pack of beer in this hypothetical cryptocurrency Blade Runner style world, but they're meant more for like settling a debt, paying your mortgage, paying your car payment, things of that nature. So they're really meant for recurring payments and stuff like that, or just large transfers, purchasing real estate. But you can pick this up on HitBTC, BitThumb, Bitfinex, Binance, Bittrex, Poloniex, and so on and so forth. So it's out there. It's been around a while. It's got a lot of potential. Next up on the list, XMR. We got Monero. So I've heard a little bit more about Monero these days. It's one of the mineable currencies out there, one of the mineable privacy currencies out there. And I'd heard Mariah Carey was accepting gifts in Monero for her Christmas presents. How kind of her to be so specific to her doters. But it's got a circulating supply of about 15 million, which is a decent amount. And it's got a couple minutes of block time as well on average. So again, something that's not really meant for day-to-day transactions. It's semi-affordable at $383. It's sitting around that Bitcoin gold price, give or take. I mean, don't quote me on that. And it's at a pretty high, like pretty much near an all-time high right now in its value. But this is a very popular coin. And so these are ones that are out there. Now I want to take a look at a few privacy coins that are really meant for day-to-day use. I know a lot of you guys are just out there just investing. You're trying to grow a portfolio, but if we're actually looking at this future economy where these cryptocurrencies are used in a marketplace to purchase physical goods in your day-to-day life, things like Monero, Dash, and Zcash aren't going to be like really in your wallet. They're going to be like your savings account. And these other types of currencies I'm about to cover, so that was 3. I'm going to give you 3 more. These other 3 coins are meant more to be like your checking account or your debit card system, where you can spend them on a day-to-day basis. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into one of my absolute favorites. Love it or hate it, it's Verge, and it's up, it's down, it's all around, and it's got a heck of a lot of potential. So massive, massive circulating supply at the moment, and that's what it's intended to be. So rather than having to deal so much in fractions of currencies, Verge is meant to be fast, settles in like 30 seconds-ish for its transactions. Don't quote me on that again. But having up to 16.5 billion Verge out there and potential supply later on, it's really meant for day-to-day use. So you can hold a large chunk of it. You can settle debts. You can pay for something while you're in line, this hypothetical coffee at Starbucks, things like that. And you can pick it up on a hell of a lot of crypto markets. So you've got Bittrex, Binance, Cryptopia, HitBTC, so on and so forth. It's a mass market privacy coin. And what happens when you make transactions on these, not only are the transactions not as traceable as we had alarmingly seen with Ethereum and ERC20 tokens, but people can't trace, who's sending money and stuff like that. So basically, you can rest assured that you can send money back and forth to somebody without repercussions of people and peering eyes going into it and saying, hey man, look, I see you got all this going on. You got one hell of a wallet there. I'm going to watch you. And then you become a target of some sort, right? Like assuming that they can link that encrypted wallet address back to an actual person, which they certainly could if they had sent you cryptocurrency and knew who you were in real life. So that's just kind of weird to think about. But, it's as if somebody could just go on chase.com, type in something about you and look up your bank account balance just for, shits and giggles and find out where you're spending your money. Very interesting, right? Marketers would certainly want to know that, what your spending habits were and who those were, and they'd be tying information back to who these wallet addresses were and what businesses were tied to the wallet addresses to find out your spending habits, purchase habits, so on and so forth. So, kind of think of this as like the cloak and dagger type of cryptocurrency, not just Verge, but privacy coins in particular. Another big up-and-comer, a lot of hype on this one, and one that I personally haven't picked up, but I know the rest of the team's really excited about, is PivX. It has a relatively low circulating supply for a coin that's meant for day-to-day use, but this community that surrounds this coin is really powerful in terms of deciding the direction of which future development's going to go. And that's why a lot of people seem to trust PivX and like that project, because it's not being hoarded and controlled by the people who designed it to the extent where they're the ones driving the future developments. It's actually the online community giving their input and guidance and suggestions. So good news, that one's up, but it's under $13. It went up 35 cents since before I looked at it a few moments ago till now. So big kudos to them. Good on you guys. Sitting again at nearly an all-time high, at least based on USD, but it's not at an all-time high in terms of Satoshi value. So you could look back that, wow, that was quite a while ago. In crypto world, that's crazy. Back in April, it actually had a higher Satoshi value. So if you're trading on Satoshis, this isn't at an all-time high. If you're trading in cash, well, it's at an all-time high. So, take a look at those two. It depends on what you're buying and selling in and out of. If you're putting new cash into the market, then, may or may not be a good choice for you. Just kind of weigh that out, whether you're a Satoshis or USD sort of guy. My bills are still currently paid in USD, so I kind of give that some consideration. And it's also easier for me to think in terms of. All right, because USD doesn't fluctuate as much as Bitcoin, usually for worse though. And last but not least, or least, is a relatively newcomer not in the market, but at least on my radar. These guys have actually been around for about 3.5 years, but they've changed names a few times. So these are they're so private on the privacy coin. This is a joke, but that they have to change their name every so often just to obscure their project. But they used to be called Dark Note. Now they're called Digital Note. It's a little more socially acceptable and friendly. Dark Note sounded more like bad guys doing bad things on the dark web, so they're becoming a little bit more commercial from that sense. It just had a huge run up, and it's started to slip today. I personally hold some of this coin. It's just so dang cheap when I bought it, and I just figured, if Verge was going up and these privacy coins were going up, grab some Digital Note while I could. I had some extra coin laying around, and it's currently sitting at an all-time high for USD, not at an all-time high yet in terms of Satoshis, but it's certainly sitting at a fair value. That looks an awful lot like the PIVX chart. So what the heck happened there? Going back to Digital Note. Disregard what I just said. It's basically the same. Still at an all-time high for USD, and not sitting at an all-time high for Satoshis, but it's close to an all-time high for those guys. Now this is another one that's, it's meant for microtransactions, but unfortunately it's so tied down to the Bitcoin style version of blockchain that it's actually got a really slow block time. The slowest amongst the other 5 that I had talked about. So that's something to be said, that yeah, it's got large circulating supply, not as big as Verge, and it's also not as valuable as Verge, so take that into consideration, right? I personally don't feel like it has as many technical features and as many privacy features as Verge, but when it's weighing in at like a tenth of the price, and it's currently, and it's got nowhere near as much circulating supply. I mean, you're looking at something that's like, it's got room to grow. It's barely over $100 million, but you can figure if this one ever does get to $1 billion, then you're going to be looking at like a 9-cent coin, something like that. So you do have potential here to possibly 10x your money if you're looking for gains, but look at it more for what it can do in terms of economy moving forward as we get into that digital age that we all are hoping for, where we can spend this money on a day-to-day basis, whether it be with a debit card or a smartphone wallet system. Probably makes more sense than an actual card. Because one thing I've always sort of wondered ever since I saw that 10x concept, that 10x project, as you've seen with the debit card, is what coins are they actually taking from you when you buy something? I mean, that's kind of a weird situation. If you got multiple coins in that wallet and you go and swipe at Walmart or somewhere and then you buy something, it's like, what coins do you just take from me? What's in my hold? What's not? I need to look more into how 10x works. I don't have a 10x debit card. I'm here in the US and I'm kind of excluded from some of that stuff at this time for their project, but I do hold some 10x coin. And it just really makes me wonder, it's like, okay, you're trying to mainstream the spending of cryptocurrency. I'm just trying to get my dang money into cryptocurrency. Can't seem to get enough of it to get it in there fast. Or fast enough, got an insatiable appetite with all these opportunities I'm seeing, but somehow there's people out there that want to cash out and spend it. That to me, I'm not at that phase yet. I want to mature this type of project. And I think that's partially why a lot of my positions tend to be longer term. I want to make sure that my wallet grows steadily as much as I want to make sure that the wallet also grows. What's a good word? Perpetually. I don't like to see my wallet dip, but I don't panic. Like over this past weekend, I was buying in. I was putting some more money in and kind of spreading my wealth out because I saw the buying opportunity with 20-30% market dips. It dipped, it came back, it dipped even worse. When it was around $500 billion in that, like a day ago, I was buying some more. So hopefully you were in that type of position, but just kind of look at it that way. But privacy coins really are meant to, obscure your address when you're sending money to people, obscure your transactions, take it off of that public ledger like you'd find on etherscan.io for those ERC20 tokens. Comment below your favorite privacy coin. Which ones do you guys look the most for? Because some of these coins actually really aren't in, don't have a privacy wallet system in circulation yet. There's still, some of them are still immature to the point where they're not actually fully functional. So, you could really buy and sell them on exchanges and send them peer to peer, but using these wallets like some of them have proclaimed hasn't really come about. But what are your favorites? Do you agree that privacy coins are really, a way to go in terms of how you're going to spend your money when it comes not just to investments, but where are you going to hold the money you're going to spend for the next week? Where's your milk money at? Would you hold it in privacy coin, or would you hold it in something like Ethereum, Litecoin, or Bitcoin? Let us know your thoughts. We see you guys out there dropping us comments all the time. Sometimes you guys are spamming us, I think, to try to hype some coins out there, because it seems like we'll get hundreds of messages at one point, like someone jumped off the forums and was coming over to spam us out. But we love it either way. That sometimes shows us what we need to be looking into, because we can't certainly keep up with all 1,382 of the currencies that are out there, and we'd like to see more and more. Like, we're just trying to consume all this information as fast as possible, but it's basically not humanly possible for us, even with this team. Happy holidays to you guys. Stay safe through the New Year's, and we'll talk to you guys later. This is Steve with Altcoin Buzz signing off.